Hello. What I've been doing here is I've been trying to create an educational technology landscape map, and there are quite a lot of these around at the moment. Some of them are being developed for strategy purposes by universities and higher education institutions. Most of them are tool-based uh, and specifically product-based. And what I wanted to do was try and map out those tools and technologies in some way in a slightly different way by mapping them into different types of content and different types of interaction and different purposes and demonstrate those on a map um, as a visualization. Now, I so I, this is pretty much my second attempt, and I still haven't got it right. But I thought I'd share it with everybody and see what they thought, and see if there's some way that we might be able to improve it. What I've done here, I've still got this in full screen mode, is I've tried to divide the map up into a number of columns, and ranging from what I think of on the left. These two columns on the left are basically um, administration and management tools around educational technology, and then in the middle we've got um, what I've called subject matter expert content, and I've divided that into two further columns, which are content delivery and content interaction. And I'm not quite sure about the terms yet, but that's what I'm working with at the moment. And then we've got a column here of student content. And again, I've subdivided that into two columns for different techniques and tools, which are user-generated content and student collaboration. And then I've got a third column, sorry, a fifth column, which is around third-party content and connections. So that's outside of the organisational, outside of the higher educational organisation. Now I've separated out the sort of management tools which I see on the left from the learning tools on the right with this off-centered arrow. Originally, I intended this to be a continuum of delivery approaches based on a blended, partially blended approach to a wholly online approach. I don't think that's worked very effectively the way I've developed the diagram. Um, and I was going to position those tools as to where I thought they might come. The other thing that I've done is I've put a couple of arrows down at the bottom, which show the where I think closed systems and open systems overlap. So, and there I'm talking about highly proprietary, well, not necessarily proprietary, but secure closed systems closed to the organization, as opposed to more open systems out on the web, uh, where users are free to interact with others without outside of the confines of the university. And there's some areas where there's overlap, and that'll depend on university policy and procedures and innovativeness and a whole host of factors. And again, that's not quite right, but this is, as I say, it's a first attempt at mapping these sorts of resources out. I'll just zoom it up to 100%. I think pretty much these should be fairly self-explanatory. The other thing I would note is I've started making an attempt at color coding, um, and specifically the orange here, I've indicated in the key down at the bottom that these are tools or technologies that are nearly always managed through a learning management system or implemented through a learning management system. They don't have to be, but they nearly always are. The brown are generally um, administered through a learning management system, but again, they don't have to be, and there are other solutions for each of those. And the other tools, well, I've really yet to actually go through them in detail because you can make arguments for each of them sitting in any particular space. And this is one of the things that makes this activity really quite hard. Now, again, if I was being self-critical, what I'd say is you've got very specific tools like asynchronous discussions, and then I've written down in here over here, for example, open educational resources as being a tool or technique, and yeah, again, that's an issue that probably needs resolving if we were to make this better. It certainly needs some more annotation and some more explanation. Um, probably the other thing that people would say would be lacking from this would be mobile, and I've deliberately left mobile learning off this because really that's just being location independent, and all of these tools are still appropriate um, if you've got the right device. So if you've got an iPad or a phone, there'll be different tools that you can use, but it shouldn't necessarily be mobile or not mobile. There are a couple of ones that I will pick out that are a bit unusual. The only specific tool I've mentioned is Google Wave, simply because that's such a unique product in in what it does. It's probably quite different in that it's got its synchronous editing, wiki type discussion, blur type approach. Um, So that's the only one. I think the other one that's relatively new for me, which I just added in recently, was the lecture content annotation, which I found out about from a tool that Monash University have developed, which allows students to annotate lecture notes and then for those annotations to be drawn together by the lecturer, sounds like a very interesting technology. I've not seen much about that. I don't know much about it, but I thought I'd put it in for now. And some of them technologies range from paper-based through to uh, wholly online, interactive, and some things that are just arriving now, augmented reality and those sorts of things. Um, Now, I'm sure I've missed lots. I'd love to know what they are. I'd love to know if you think any of these fit in different spaces. Where tools cross over boundaries, obviously I've drawn them as crossing over those columns. I don't think I've got them right in every place, but I'd certainly love for you to um, take this, build it, add to it if you want to. It's Creative Commons license, so you can do whatever you like with it. Um, but it would be great to if you do things with it to hear back from you and maybe build up a more comprehensive map that we can all share. Okay, that's it. Thanks.